Let us now move on to the first panel discussion of the day. Blended education, hybrid class and flipped learning, future of education in India. May I now invite the esteemed panelists for the same. Professor Sanjay, Fuloria, Professor ICFAI Business School, Hyderabad, the moderator for the panel. Dr. Balakrishna Shetty, Pro-Chancellor, Malla Reddy University. Dr. Alexander Jesudason, Vice-Chancellor, Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science, deemed to be a university. Dr. Mridul, Dharwal, Director, Sharda University. Mr. Y. Sujit Kumar, Secretary, Chalapathi Educational Society. Dr. Sriharsha Reddy, Director, Institute of Management Technology, Hyderabad. Dr. Jitender Govindani, Director, Academics, ICBM School of Experience. Dr. Divya Nalla, Director, Malla Reddy Engineering College. Mr. Ramana TSV, CEO, CodeTantra. Mr. Manish, Mohta, MD, Learning Spiral. Mr. Satyam Bharadwaj, Director, Shahid Bhagat Singh Group of Educational Institute. Can we give all the panelists a big round of applause, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. So I am Sanjay from ICFAI Business School. I was recently speaking with a very senior industry executive. I wanted to invite him for a guest lecture for our students at ICFAI. So he immediately rejected the offer. He said, I might sound rude, but if you are trying to do it virtually, students close their cameras. I'm not able to see anyone, so I'm not interested. If you are wanting to invite me physically, students don't ask questions, so why should I come? So these are two symptoms that we see, and we are talking about blended learning, hybrid classrooms, and flipped classrooms. So flipped classrooms, the idea is students should learn on their own, be prepared to the class, and when they come to the class, they can discuss and share their points of view. But if they don't read, if they don't ask questions, then how will they do it? So that's what we're going to discuss. So we have a limited time, and we have around 11 panelists here. So in the first round, I will request all the panelists to discuss their experience, share their experience in terms of hybrid classrooms, flipped classrooms, and blended learning.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Satyam Bharadwaj, Director, SBS Group. So blended learning, hybrid education, and flipped learning is a very old kind of method that has been carried on, but recently came into light because of COVID. During COVID, many of us in the secondary education and higher education got this opportunity to learn this method. All the educators got this opportunity to update their skills about taking online classes, or using of AVs and projectors and smart boards in the classroom to deliver new kind of experiential learning. This has been a very a good experience in a way, because it gives a good experience, learning experience to students. In schools and in colleges as well, students are learning new set of skills and engaging more and more because it's their domain. This is catering to their needs. We are able to cater to their needs, because in traditional education, I feel that we are just going through the textbooks or the curriculum, the rigid curriculum that we have. But in this method, in this education, blended education, we get the technology aspect in the classrooms and provide above and beyond the curriculum that we have in the universities. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Divya Nalla. I'm the director of Nalla Malla Reddy Engineering College in Hyderabad. About this topic, basically once we started online classes during pandemic, every one of us, including the teachers and the students, got used to the online mode of learning. And then they got used to that, and they still didn't get over that even now. The students, basically, the current students, their level of concentration and the amount of time they would be attentive in the class is definitely has changed, and it has reduced a lot. And they're more interested in, because we see they just skip all the things, right, online. So that's the mode of learning what they have got adapted to. Then what about the traditional classroom teaching, and what about the teachers who are teaching? So there should be a balance. I mean, we cannot just make everything online or everything offline in the traditional mode. There has to be a balance where we have to take the positive aspects of both the worlds. Because students are interested in learning online and doing things online and in short chunks, shorter versions, not in a 50-minute classroom. So be it that, the teachers also need to be trained in blending these two aspects, taking the positive aspects of the online material, online learning what the student can do, and also the requirement for a teacher, the need for a teacher to mentor them and guide them towards what they need to do online, what they are not supposed to do, and also engage them in the classroom by this flipped classroom, what we talked about. Yes, flipped classroom. The students can just go and watch a YouTube video and then come to the classroom. But in the class, the teacher should really engage them in a discussion where the student actually gets to understand the application of that, or really use that particular aspect to, in their future, as an engineer or as a graduate, where they need to apply that. That is something online education will definitely not give. That should be given by a teacher, and that it is very much essential to train the teachers in this way. Because training the teachers earlier we used to do in a different way, but now this blended mode of education really needs a lot of training to the teachers. They cannot just go with the traditional way of just the lecture and then the exam model. So that training of the teachers is very much essential, which we already experimented and we're doing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am Dr. Balakrishna Shetty. I am basically a radiologist and right now Pro-Chancellor at Malla Reddy University. Basically, I would like to say this is blended learning I would like to say it is just like industry 4.0. Most of my colleagues are from industry and education. I am from healthcare. So just like industry 4.0, I would like to say this is education 4.0. Like the students, the most important development of corona, the smallest creature in the world, what the corona has done is liberated our students from the concrete halls of education centers. So right now, I would like to say the blending learning is not like now we don't ask the student what is your homework. I need to say the patient what is your schoolwork. Like the learning is at home and work is in the school. So it is not a homework. We no more talk about homework. We would like to talk about the homework. So far, I would like to say so far the students were locked inside a concrete hall, and I would like to say the faculty members were holding on to the students. You do this, you learn this, you need 100 pages you read, you score marks, you get the better score sheet or something like that. Now this has totally changed. This is education 4.0. Now I would like to say what is blended means from learning at school and it has come to learning at home, number one. And from teaching, it has come to learning. There is no more teaching. We don't want any one-way teaching from any of the faculty members for that matter. We would like to see that the students will learn something. So it is not just teaching, it is not only learning, it is also from learning, it is motivating my students. My previous speaker, she just told very clearly, what we need to see is not teaching, it is motivation of the students. For that, I would like to give a very beautiful example of Bhagavad Gita. I'd like to say, like when Arjuna said that he cannot do the work, like he cannot kill his, his Ajja or great grandfather, or his teachers, or his brothers, and all those things. And after some time, after the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna does everything. So if it is E is equal to mc squared, if I say energy is equal to mass into velocity, Arjuna's mass before Bhagavad Gita and after Bhagavad Gita, it was the same. It was the same Arjuna, same chariot, same Gandiva, same Hanuman, same Krishna, everything was same. But after Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna could perform everything. So I would like to say, instead of E is equal to mc squared, it is not the mass, it is a motivation. Here M is equal to motivation, not the mass. So the energy of a the energy of the student depends on not on the mass, it is on motivation. Just like Bhagavad Gita, all the teachers should see that everything is motivated. And also in Bhagavad Gita, you see it is not a one-way class. The Arjuna will keep asking questions, and it is questions, 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 and answers, answers, answers. So that is what is required in blended learning. So what I would like to say, the change is learning from school to home, number one. Change is teaching from learning, and change is from questioning to motivation. And the most important change when I say this is my faculty members say that they have to cover the syllabus. I would like to say my faculty members, you need not cover the syllabus, you need to uncover the syllabus. Please uncover the syllabus. Don't give any syllabus to the student. Uncover it. The student will take the syllabus, it will get back to you with some particular information and give you. Today student will say, sir, I have learned this, give me some credentials. It is not that the teacher is giving credentials, the student has to give the credentials for the teacher. So the teachers are scared, because if I say, when we conduct an examination, if I am the examiner, a student is there, I can ask some questions. But if the chairs are changed, if the student asks some questions, I don't know how many faculty members will pass if the student asks the questions. So it is teaching to learning, and it is motivation, it is changing your classroom to the homework, and the most important, changing collection of data to knowledge. Today, collection of data is not important. We need not ask the student to collect data, because data is available always in your mobile phone. Just you open up, click 30 seconds, you can give any data possible. So it is not collection of data, it is collection of knowledge. And not only that, it is changing knowledge from changing knowledge to wisdom. That is most important. That's what I would like to say. Motivation, inclusiveness, and seeing that our students are wise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shetty. Over to Dr. Alexander.
Friends, good afternoon. I have a very long name, and you can remember me as Alex. I am the Pro-Vice-Chancellor of Hindustan, deemed to be university in Chennai. And I have the unique privilege of having studied and worked in one of the top colleges in the country, Madras Christian College. I served there for 34 long years and retired as the principal of having served for 11 years. As you are aware of, education is also one of the entities which is evolving. I'm basically a biologist. Now, I have evolved to work in a multidisciplinary university. So I wanted to remind all is that education is also an entity which is evolving, which has been touched upon a little bit by the previous panelists. Gone are the days where we used to use overhead projectors, slide projectors, and things like that. Today, we find that teaching, learning has become completely customized to the students. And therefore, the statement to say that education has evolved is no exaggeration. In another 20 years' time, we do not know how education is going to be. Today, I think online, and particularly thanks to COVID, and probably if COVID was not there, we would have probably remained in the same old rote model. But this has compelled many institutions which has experimented a little bit on online education to move full gear to the online hybrid education and things like that. Now, one important development that satisfies the Indian scenario is massification of education. You know, to provide education to a large mass of people, that is possible, I think, through online education. The second important critical thing that you would look into is that teachers' shortage. When you go to educational institution, whether they follow, whether the SFR, the student-faculty ratio, is 15:1 or 20:1 is a very, very big question. And since the qualified teachers are in deficient state, I think one way by which we will be able to circumvent that situation is to move on to the online education where it is available to all the people at all times. Thirdly, for someone who has got a certificate program only, certificate, or a diploma program, if someone wants to upscale their qualification while working in an organization, while working in an industry, this is a beautiful platform because there's no real-time classes. You can do synchronous, asynchronous learning, and you can develop, and you can read, you can learn at your given time, at your customized time. The fourth important aspect with regard to the homemakers. The homemakers, it gives them an opportunity to really scale up. I think a few days back I saw in the newspaper, Times of India, that a farmer, a woman farmer, has qualified for a PhD degree. And that is all possible, I think, because of these new approaches that are available, in education. And therefore, this is a beautiful venture, and Hindustan is one of the institutions which has embarked on online education from the beginning. In the past 3 years, we are one of the institutions which have embarked on this education from 2020, and I'm sure that this is going to be the order of the day. The teacher should be able to choose, between real-time, real classes, and also should give opportunities for students to explore their knowledge through the online systems that is prevailing. That would make engaging the students in a very interesting manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity. Myself, Dr. Mridul Dharwal. I'm a professor of economics, and I'm the Director International Accreditation Ranking, Sharda University. I will take a half minute to just introduce my university. Sharda University was established in 2009 with a vision to serve the society. And with a very short period of time in the last 14 years, our university is doing very well in these directions, in the ICT-enabled teaching learning processes. I'm just sharing my experience as a professor of economics, how we are implementing this blended learning, flipped classrooms, teaching, online teaching in our university. If you see, the most important thing is that there should be a meaningful connect between the teacher and the students, whether it is a face-to-face teaching or blended or flipped class. If we have a very meaningful connect, so we get the desired outcomes. You know that for the holistic development of any student, there are three important things are there. One is knowledge, second is skills, and third is attitude. And in my opinion, because I am implementing in my class also, in economics class also, that this blended learning and flipped learning, it basically cater all these three requirements. Second important thing is diversity. If you see, because our university is known for the diversity, we are taking students from 95 plus countries and across India also. We have a big challenge. How can we cater this diversity? We have advanced learners, we have slow learners, we have deep learners also, and the average learners also. For this, we cannot implement one method. That's why we are moving from this flipped classrooms and blended learning, through which we are able to cater all these diversified students, diversified population. Third important thing is that if you see there's a third important aspect is there about the policymakers also. In NEP 2020, if you see, our gross enrollment ratio is 23% now, and more than 4 crore students in higher education, and there are 50,000 institutions are there, 1,064 universities, 40,000 colleges, and 10,000 standalone institutions. If you see from last 70 years, our GER is 23%. In the NEP, we are going to, our target is GER should be 50%. It means in 15 years, we have to create more than 60,000 institutions, then we can achieve this. So through this way, we cannot achieve. The only thing is that we have to enable the ICT, we have to enable the technology, then we are able to achieve this target. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sujit. I am Secretary and Correspondent for Chalapathi Educational Society. I have been I did my master's in Texas A&M International University, MBA Finance, undergraduate in Electronics and Communications. And I worked there for, in US for about 9 years, moved back in 2016, and since then I've been associated with the institutions which my father has started. So since 2016, it's been close to 8 years. I think this is the key phase where I have seen the transition of blended learning happening really faster than any other phase in the past few decades. So like many members have mentioned that COVID is one key factor. Now, if the topic comes down to what would be the right approach and how much of our classroom environment should be in a blended mode, I think there is no one single formula which you can completely decide on. I believe that it truly depends upon the course and the course outcomes that you have set forth. And based on these course and course outcomes, the esteemed professors like who are here have to design what would be the right approach for that course in order to achieve the outcome in the best possible way. And it also, the factor that also we need to keep consideration is what is the student community that we are handling. See, for example, in my institutions, the student community comes from a rural background, where about 30 to 40% are first generation families who are coming into education. So I totally believe that the world has become flat, where you can take up David Millan's CS50 computer science course, which happens in Harvard. The next day you can start watching the YouTube video and you can get the excellent course delivered to your screen within no time. That's what technology has enabled. But really, is the student capable of understanding? So we have to assess the student community. We have to pick the right tools which are comfortable for the students to handle for the, and also we have more important factor is how well our educators who are handling these students are trained in those tools, as well as how well they are prepared with this blended mode of teaching. The good side, like all members have mentioned, this pandemic has pushed everyone to get accustomed to the blended mode. Students have accustomed, as well as the educators have accustomed. That's the positive side. But now, I think this is the best time for all the education ecosystem that we have to leverage whatever this situation has brought, and you prepare the students and teachers and see what best we can bring out in the outcomes of the courses that we are handling. So here there are panel members from management side, engineering side, and I belong to engineering and pharmacy education. So I reiterate that it's not one single formula that works for everything. You have to purely focus on what is the exact course outcome that you achieve with the student body, with the educator community that you have. Thank you.
Professor Sanjay and other colleagues on the panel. Very good afternoon to everyone. My esteemed panel members have been sharing why blended learning and the significance of blended learning. So blended learning is the future, and let me share 3 case studies which are relevant to my school where I'm coming from. I'm Dr. Sriharsha Reddy, Director at IMT Hyderabad. We are a B school having campuses in Ghaziabad, Nagpur, Hyderabad and Dubai. Usually I get students from all over India and they pursue internships all over India. So looking at this requirement, we have initiated one global immersion program. 10% of my students go on student exchange programs, be it in Europe or US, but 90% of them, for whatever constraints, they are unable to make it to this, experience the global exposure program. That's where 3 years back we have started this global immersion program where I bring in industry practitioners and professors from all over the world, and the students attend their sessions. We had professors from NUS, HEC Paris and so on, and practitioners from Amazon who are heading the global operations. And a component in this, that a group of students should have study buddies from the chosen country. And they will have to understand not only the emerging areas, but also their culture, their cuisine, and the way of living. And they will have to submit a video presentation, which at the end of the project, they'll be awarded with first prize and second prize. Last 3 years, this is one initiative which is only enabled by technology. So it can be adopted by anyone here in this room. So we invite people from the embassies, UK and US embassies for the face-to-face sessions, and professors and practitioners across the globe for an online session. So this is one case study. Second one, we have something called RemoteX, which helps the students pursuing their internships across India, around 30-40 locations in 80+ corporates, to access library resources wherever they are in India, using this tool called RemoteX. And the third one, I'm glad that they are participating as one of the event sponsors here. There is an entity called Board Infinity, which is helping us to train our, impart pre-placement training in blended mode, where the what all individual customized specific trainings are given online. If something is on leadership skills, those are being offered in as part of campus immersion. So blended learning, hybrid learning, and flipped classroom is future of Indian education, but applied in the right proportion. 100% online will not work. It has to be combination. That's where I think you can pick one of the 3 examples which I've shared. Thank you one and all.
Good afternoon, dignitaries on the dais, my colleagues sitting on the other side. My name is Dr. Jitender Govindani. I'm a professor of strategic management and marketing at ICBM School of Business Excellence. I've been a teacher for the last 28 years. I love teaching. I enjoy spending time with the students. Why? Because it makes you feel younger, right? It's an age-defying formula. The other passion that I have is wildlife photography. I'm an avid wildlife photographer. My pictures have been published in National Geographic and other magazines. Some of you might not like what I'm going to say next. COVID, since I'm a nature lover, I felt COVID was good because it helped revive the environment and nature, right? And there was a time when people of Jalandhar would see Himalayas sitting at their homes because the nature cleaned itself. In fact, I personally believe COVID, not only for nature, but also for us as faculty, was good enough to help us rethink or revive ourselves and get away from the old school, old pattern of teaching, which was purely, in fact, I might say, no, I was also into practical training and all. I thought, I was just doing one case study and I thought, okay, I'm good enough as a faculty. Why? Because I'm allowing the students to gain practical knowledge. But now, in the last 3 years, 4 years, what we are seeing is the kind of changes that is happening in the education and training world is drastic. Faculties have started evolving. We have moved away from a seller's market to buyer's market. I'm a faculty of marketing, so I would say, now we are now customer driven. Now we are more worried about how to make our students happy, how to make it as fun. I thought earlier, fun while learning was only related to kindergartens, wherein you make the kids enjoy and the kids love spending time there and the kids would love to go to the school. But now, aren't we in the same thing? We at business management education, we would like to make education as interactive, fun. We have moved from classroom-centered learning to participative style of learning, which is more like fun, but also interactive so that the students enjoy and keep coming to the colleges. Now, earlier, one problem that I think I see over the years, the evolution of students. The students, if you ask any teacher, I'm sure my colleagues would agree over here, we always say, pehle ke batches bahut achhe the. Students were more serious earlier. Now things are changing. Now we have to understand, we have to also think from the student's perspective, that's like no longer they are reciting things or mugging up things or trying to just follow A for apple and they're trying to mug up the definitions. No, that's not happening. They say, okay, so what? They don't want in the classroom something that is already there in the textbook. They are telling us, tell us beyond it. Make learning fun for us. So it is mandatory. Now also one problem that we see is that the attention span of the students is coming down. One biggest problem that we have is in our education system is the examination pattern. Till we keep evaluating the students purely based on the final exam, how much they are able to remember and write things on paper, I think so like it would not work. For us, it's important that so like, as my colleagues have said, you blended education, flipped classrooms, making activity-based education is important. Assignments, giving homework, I would say homework is a small word, but assignments which require students to remember theory, put theory into perspective, I would rather say theoretical to conceptual knowledge is more important. As Philip Kotler himself says, marketing is not the way it used to be. Right? We have moved from marketing 1.0 to marketing 4.0 now. Right? So we have to understand mind, body, soul, and so like social media, everything is integrated now. My suggestion, small suggestion over here is whatever blended approach that you are using, only thing that you have to understand is as a faculty, see what works for you. Now it cannot be one uniform pattern which all the faculties are following. Now for example, I'm a marketing faculty, I can give more of practical field work, visits and all, but the same might not be applicable to finance. So especially what I see is this particular draconian rules that come that okay, business schools have to follow this particular pattern. Earlier there were 70 marks were there for final exam. Luckily now the government is a little liberal. They have come to 50%, but it can go further. Why not? Like how foreign universities follow all the 100 marks for purely activity based. Why do we have a physical exam? So we can get away from it. Keep the entire focus on activities, assignments, group assignments, and teamworks, field works, all those things, right? So we can go ahead with a little bit of that. And more importantly, the whole fun of blended education is learning stays. The concept does not vanish after the trimester exams are over or semester exams are over. Learning stays permanently. I think that's the advantage of blended education. Blended education is there to stay. Only thing that colleges and universities have to do is they have to ensure that quality material, the faculties have to be really working hard over here. Faculties have to keep generating. They cannot have the same case studies that is done over the batches for the next 5 years, 10 years. Case studies, assignment, group activities, everything. Because now the students have become more smarter. Today you give assignment, you also know that this assignment is there all online for others to copy. So you'll have to again, colleges have to empower the faculty with tools like anti-plagiarism, there are a lot of things. Colleges will also have to invest in technology. And for which money is required. And technology can be used as an enabler. Only thing is, whether the colleges and universities are ready to invest on it. That's a question that I have.
So, with 2 minutes to the countdown and 2 speakers left. So, I'll introduce myself, Manish, Mohta, founder Learning Spiral. And I will take from, what some of the learned academicians here pointed out. that what was our ancient methodology of teaching. If you look at the Gurukul or if you look at any of them, one central thought process was that it was more question driven, right? So that was the central theme in which, the entire learning flowed. So let me take these 1 minute to ask some questions, okay? I was just penning them down and I'll just take them through it. So India is a large country. Given that vastness and given that challenge, do we take institutes to the students or do we bring students to the institutes? Years before, most of our leaders came from select batches from premium institutes. What is the ratio of our leaders from such premium institutes today? Is teaching equal to learning? What in this framework, new framework, is the role of the teacher and what is the role of the content? Do we have enough trained teachers to visualize this changed scenario of teaching and learning? Consequently, are we curating as an institute the right blend of content to ignite the minds of the students and the right training to question the thoughts of these learners? Are we then measuring the outcomes we want to work for? Are we finally asking the right questions? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ramana. I'm from CodeTantra, which is an edtech company. And I've been fortunate enough to actually provide services to enable both blended learning and flip. And these two are significantly different in the space. So I don't think I need to further venture on debating whether blended learning or flip learning are useful or not useful. That's, I think, done and dusted. I think what probably I will touch upon is my own experience. As a kid, when I started learning as a student, I've been a teacher, then I've also been a father, and I'm seeing my kids learning today. And they've also been using platforms which have built, right, for online and all that. There is a definite, and this has already been touched upon, there's a significant change in the mindset of the students. And we are trying to impose our way of learning or our way of teaching, which we had in our times, to this generation. One of the key points that I have noticed, and that was a key motivation for even starting the company that I did, was when we go to the industry, the way we actually learn on job is not the way we teach in the universities. There's a huge gap. We learn by doing. We learn by doing. Everything is learned, and the learning process is not in getting the correct result. All the possible wrong things that we do, that is the learning that we have and the experience we call. So I really concur with Madam when she said that it requires significant amount of unlearning and training the teachers if we really have to make blended or flip successful. Because we are used to certain way. I still remember my own college days. When I go, I can exactly predict my teacher. Me and my batchmate who started the company, we graduated from BITS. I was fortunate there to pick up some subjects like international business, though I'm from IT background. I had a consultant from Hyderabad who used to come there and teach international business from Spectrum Consulting, I still remember. Person was all knowledge because he was working in Middle East, this, that, he was sharing practical experiences. His model was flip. He used to always give us first material, we should be prepared in the class, and then there it was a dialogue. It was the catechism which you were talking about. The core part of teaching learning process is catechism, agreed. Now the thing is, the students currently are going through even school education. We have the burden I'm being little honest here, or brutally honest, I should say. We have the burden that we are carrying on shoulder because of a certain process set in the school education. Even though we all want to, transform ourselves magically to the best of the universities and colleges and adopt their process, the student who comes from a school education does not have this mindset. He even asks in engineering colleges, they will ask you for notes for the exam, correct? So I think there is a societal change that we probably have to think, and we should internally have the courage to experiment. As the speaker previously pointed out, institutions, we should have the courage to say, I'm going to take this step, it's okay, there's a learning, but we have 4 years to fill the gap, or 3 years to fill the gap, to make any remedial interventions. So I feel, yes, blended and flip will be the future, is the future, and to some degree, many institutions like Hindustan, like sir has mentioned, have already adopted in whichever way is suiting them, correct? But we have to do this forward and backward integration well with good amount of training, because in theory everything is good. Blended has its efficacies, right? Flip has, but it all depends on the way we are able to implement it. The success of it is in the implementation detail. Thank you, everyone.
So before I thank all the panel members, let me summarize what the panel discussed. So whether we use hybrid classrooms, flipped classrooms, blended learning, the essentials remain the same. Essentials will never change. So the curiosity that the teacher is able to generate in the students, the Socratic method, a very good way Mr. Mohta pointed to questions, right? That Socratic method, that has to be inculcated whichever the mode be. Then learning by doing. Our last speaker spoke about learning by doing. And it should be learner-centric. Education has always been learner-centric. It has to be learner-centric. And ultimately, the role of the teacher or the educator has to be to motivate and mentor the students, right? To show the way so that the student does well, not only in the educational institute, but in life, in career, in family, everywhere. So on that note, I'd like to thank all my panel members for their brilliant views, and I thank the organizers for inviting us here. Thank you very much. Yeah, sure.
Sir, can we hand over the mic? Just one question.
I am Ram Mohan Namile. My question is that एक सर जो है marketing के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, buy and sell, he used the words. Can we call a student customer? Because the education is already commercialized. Lakshmi Putras are buying Saraswati. So again, back to my core point, can we treat student as a customer of education? Thank you.
Sir, again, yes, on one side, I would also call student as a customer, as we have moved away from buyer's market to a seller's market to a buyer market. Now the students are choosing the institution. I have seen a lot of students who have said no to IIMs and have gone to some other colleges and universities. Private universities are doing wonderfully well in this regard, right? As I said, competition creates more alternates and more choices for the students. So instead of colleges deciding to choose the students are asking questions like, why should I choose you? Placement, of course, is one criteria. I do not want to dwell into it. No, I'm coming to it. So students are having a bigger say. They are looking into not only select the final placements these days, but they're also looking into the quality of education in terms of the flexibility. Students want more flexibility and deeper learning. That's how the criteria of the choice criteria have changed. And second, again, it's a chicken and egg story. Students are not only the customers for the colleges, but students are the finished products that these colleges or universities create and offer them as final finished product to the market, especially recruiters.
I have just small one sentence. Our panel is discussing about online learning, MOOCs, and a lot of edtech providers. and at the same time there is shortage of teachers. How this dilemma are, no, so many people are providing all this content and all, 40% MOOCs and all these things. Again, how this shortage of faculty is coming?
So I think we'll take this question off stage. We can interact one-to-one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Once again, it was a very interesting session. I honestly heard it all. Thank you so much, everyone. Can we give all the panelists a big round of applause, please? And now I would like to invite Dr. Y. Lakshman Kumar, Director, Vishwa Vishwani Institute of Systems and Management on the stage. So requesting you to please join us in present mementos to all the panelists. Can we give them a big round of applause, please? Yes, requesting all the panelists to please join for the group photograph. Yes.